So I hear this question all the time in terms of Butoh. So what exactly is Butoh? You know, not everything in life can have such a defined meaning or definition. You know, Butoh can be like the Tao. I'm sure you heard. You try to get closer to the Tao and you get further away. So maybe it's like that in the Butoh world. In short, Butoh is undefinable actually. Everybody has their own definition of Butoh. Sure, you can go back in history. You can go back to 1959 with Tatsumi Hijikata. You can see what he was doing with the performances. You can see what he was doing with the Butoh food, the Butoh notation. But is copying, is mimicking Butoh? If something looks Butoh and you just copy the shapes, is that Butoh? For me, I don't think so. I feel that really loses the essence of what Butoh could possibly be. So instead of copying, Butoh is a transformation. Butoh is a allowing of spirits to take you over, so a possession. But if you were to say, oh, okay, so any possession is Butoh, any transformation is Butoh, I can't say that that's Butoh as well. You know, it's an elusive term, it's an elusive genre, and that's the reason I like it. So what we can do is we can look at Butoh motifs from the very origins of Butoh to now and just see what motifs are there. So we do see emphasis of the weak body, which is opposite of what you would think dance is. You know, that's one motif. Other motif, it could look rather ugly, perhaps. And that is because we are questioning beauty. And these things tie into what at least two people, there's two academic articles on this, feel that Butoh is. It's a bit of a paradox. And, you know, the Tao is a paradox as well. So how can you dance when you really can't dance? You're weak and you're ugly and you want to call that a dance? Well, Butoh does. Oh, okay. You know, there's that line, Butoh is the body barely standing, like a dead body that's trying to do something. And this motif you will see often in Tatsumi Hijikata's writings, like in Wind Daruma and in The Two Prison. It's this sort of transformation or metamorphosis that happens when you do something that you cannot do. So, in other words, what happens when you reach a limit? So that's the example given with the body barely standing. How can you dance if you can't dance, you can't move, you can't do anything, but you can still dance? Yeah. So that's an example of trying to show you the direction of what perhaps Butoh can be. Except I feel it is even bigger than that, because it's always updating itself. And this, I feel, is what makes this art very valuable, is that it is always new, it is always growing. Like Guattari and Deleuze, their philosophy of creativity, built into that philosophy is that at every moment, things are changing. So Butoh is like this. Butoh is always changing. Yes, you can go back in history. You can see all the things being done. But it doesn't necessarily mean that if you do that now, that's Butoh. So there are homages, and the homages don't mean Butoh. So Butoh is always new. Butoh is always transforming. So there are three major motifs that I found: reduced body, transparent body, and being moved. And this weakened body that I talked about, that's an example of reduced body. So anything that lessens the ability of the body to do something, that can be an example of a reduced body. That is a major motif in the Butoh world. Transparent body, so this is resonance and is related to the spirits. So we can go back to Japanese culture, into animism, and animism believes that everything is alive, everything has spirit. So I'm here on a bridge. So this bridge has its own spirit. The parts of the bridge have their own spirits. The wood planks, the trees around, it's springtime, spring has its own spirit. And these things are what get into your body and make you dance. You are being moved, you are being possessed, in a sense, by the spirits of the world. So these three things are motifs, and still, after all this, I would say this is not a definition of Butoh. It is only my observation. Everybody always has their own definition of what Butoh is. I'm not excluded from that. I have a Butoh manual. It took 6 years to write. It's an ongoing work. Part of the work is that it's ongoing, just like Butoh itself. It's always changing, and people are free to break anything from this Butoh manual. And it's simply the motifs that I've seen throughout the years from Butoh guides, from Butoh performances. And I just put it all down in a manual. So subscribe if you want. I will keep making some videos as I'm starting to get back into YouTube after being out in Wyoming for 2 months. I have 1 month left, and I'm looking for a place in the States to set some Butoh roots. So, if you know of a good place, let me know in the comments section.